Oh, totally clean new mask. Boink. Okay. Full coverage powder foundation seems to be the bandwagon that a lot of makeup brands are jumping on at the moment, and we do have a new one at the drugstore. This is the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation. I talked about it in my Will I Buy It video, and I did. So today I will be trying it on, doing a full day wear test to see if it lives up to its claims. So we'll just jump into it. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name is Miranda. Welcome to my channel where we talk all things budget beauty. If that sounds interesting to you, then become the newest member of the Slashed Squad by hitting subscribe and the bell icon. So before we put the new e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation on, let's just talk about what it actually claims to do. So this is supposed to be a primer-infused pressed powder foundation that delivers buildable coverage, long wear buildable formula with medium to full coverage to be specific. Great for all skin types with oil control skin concerns, non-comedogenic, so it sounds like it's going to be good for my acne prone skin. Powder sponge included, cruelty free as with all e.l.f. products, and it's formulated without talc, phthalates, parabens, and some other stuff I cannot pronounce. This is priced at $11. They do have 30 shades of this powder foundation to start. However, there are only 12 on the Ulta website right now. I picked up Light 280N, which is supposed to be a neutral undertone. Now, I am notorious for choosing the completely wrong skin tone shade for myself when shopping online, so we'll see how well this works out. Now, it does say that it is supposed to go on the best with the sponge, so I'm just gonna try it like that. Now, obviously, I have some stuff to cover. I've got hyperpigmentation, redness, and one little scab from scratching at a pimple. Oh. For once in my life, I may have found a decent enough color match online. It might actually be a little dark, which is interesting because this is considered one of the lighter shades in the line. Like I said, it's Light 280N, but one swipe, and that's definitely a lot of coverage. You know, for something labeled N as in neutral, it is going on a little W as in warm. Now, right now, my skin is leaning on the drier side just because it's winter, I'm in the desert, and that is always a concern with powder products in terms of if it's going to accentuate any dryness or even create dry patches where you didn't really notice any before. So like right here is pretty dry, not seeing anything crazy so far. I am seeing a tiny bit of like texture going on right here. Definitely spreading really nicely. This sponge is not awful actually. I feel like it's picking up the powder pretty well. Now this is doing a decent job at creating a smooth appearance, like over my pores. It's not completely erasing them, but they don't look as prominent. Now this thing up here is definitely looking a little on the dark side. I'm having trouble getting it to be fully covered. It's just that discoloration is still popping through. And that's kind of something that I'm noticing with a lot of these powder foundations is that they claim you can build this up to full, but that just doesn't happen unless you're really caking it on, and at that point it just doesn't look good. As we stand now, I feel like we did get a lot more coverage than the typical run-of-the-mill powder. I'm just seeing a little bit of like almost scaliness, but not really. And I know that that's my skin underneath, but the product isn't necessarily helping that. So this might be a better fit just as a first impression for those with normal to oily skin. And that, I mean, is pretty standard for powder products anyway, but considering it did say good for all skin types, I wanted to point that out. Okay, so I just added some brow gel, mascara, and lip gloss, sort of my go-to no makeup look. Honestly, I am not disappointed. Very easy to use. Are the results full coverage? Not by my standards, but we definitely get a lot and enough. So I'm just gonna go on about my day and I'll update you a little bit later on how the foundation is doing. Hello. Okay, so as you can see, we are out in the wild outside of the studio, and it's actually been 6 hours since I put this makeup on in the morning, and I'm not gonna lie, the foundation's doing great. There are a few things if I'm going to be nitpicky, and I'll talk about that at the end of the day, but for the most part, the coverage is intact. The foundation isn't breaking up anywhere. Now, I have just been sitting in my office all day though, so this wear test is very much for the person who puts on makeup, goes to work, and then comes home. But I did have some errands that I wanted to run, and I thought that this would be a good time for a mask test. So as you can see, totally clean new mask. There's no residue or marks on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on. I'm gonna run in to get some cat food and cat toys, and we'll see what the mask looks like afterward. Okay, I am back. It is so windy today. All right, let's see how this held up. I did actually have like a whole conversation with one of the employees because I couldn't find a product. So not only have I been wearing this mask, but there was some friction going on and continues to go on with me talking. So let's see how it does. Boink. Okay, so obviously there is the most product transfer around the nose area, which is not surprising. A little bit at the point of contact near each of the straps, a little bit on the chin. So yeah, this is definitely not transfer proof, but honestly, it could have been a lot worse. Now, as far as whether or not I can see the product rubbed off, I'm not seeing a ton of evidence of that. Not even really around my nose all that much. Yeah, it doesn't really look all that bad. So take that for what it's worth. Decent enough mask wear test. Okay, did I finally get that smear of foundation out of my hair? Because as I've been editing, it's been bugging me so much. It's been another couple hours since I filmed that last update. We are at the end of my day, and I have to say, I went into this a little bit underwhelmed with this product as a whole, just because, like I said, I do feel like this type of product is getting a little bandwagony at the drugstore, but I will give credit where it's due. e.l.f. did a really good job with this powder foundation. Now, there are definitely still some things that I didn't necessarily like about this product, and that is personal to me, but if we have similar skin types or textures, then this might be something you want to keep in mind. First of all, even though I don't think that this shade 280N looked super wrong on me, it definitely wasn't right. And I could see it more and more as the day went on, just looking in the mirror and comparing the shade to my neck and my chest. I have like neutral golden, slightly yellow undertones, and I don't feel like I really fit in to the neutral category within this collection. I am curious whether the 250W as in warm shade would work for me, but I'm also worried that it would end up being too orange, because warm shades always look orange on me. Cool shades always look pink. So I was really hoping neutral would be a little bit more, I don't know, in the middle, a little more golden, but it wasn't. Now for the rest of what I have to say, let me zoom you in. So as you saw when I applied this, I did not apply a primer ahead of time because it is supposed to be primer infused, and I wasn't super happy with how the product settled into my fine lines. When e.l.f. says that this is primer infused, I think what they mean is you don't need a primer to maximize the wear time, but if you use a primer for other reasons, be it hydrating or smoothing, then you still might want to do that. Especially in my expression lines, we're just seeing them a little bit more emphasized in my laugh line area, but where it was really bothering me all day and it took everything in me not to like go in and blend it out. My 11s are so prominent, especially this one. Yeah, it's just, it looks deeper than I know it is. Now, surprisingly, I do have expression lines up here on my forehead and I can see them. They're not awful, but I am also seeing it settle into creases that like I didn't even know really existed yet. Like there's one just forming right down the middle into my Cupid's bow that I've never really seen product settle into before. So that was interesting. So I'm definitely interested in retesting this using a smoothing or pore filling primer. As far as my actual pores, they don't look half bad. especially on my nostril, they're still very much blurred. Again, not invisible, but blurred. I really do like that I have some radiance coming through on my cheeks, a little bit on my forehead, but it's not shiny, it's not greasy. If anything, it just gives me a little bit of a natural look. And it's also remained looking very smooth in all of my more normal areas. Now, right on top of some of my more raised blemishes, I can see it looking a little dry and flaky. So if you have dry skin, you probably already stay away from a lot of powder products, and this one is not gonna be an exception. But if you have normal to oily skin, you're gonna love how smooth and natural this looks. Now, even after that wear test, I'm still not seeing any foundation separating or breaking down. They did something very, very right with this formula in terms of how it just kind of sticks to your skin and stays there. Blended out beautifully. Now, just because I know somebody's gonna be asking this in the comments, as far as comparing this to the L'Oreal Infallible Powder Foundation, I don't necessarily think that the formula is all that much better. I think they are very, very on par with one another. This one, to be honest, the coverage might have lasted slightly more than L'Oreal, but this is a couple dollars cheaper, plus it's vegan and cruelty-free, whereas the L'Oreal one is not. So this is definitely going to be a better choice for some people. So how do you think that the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation did, and what do you think of the new craze of full coverage powder? Let me know in the comments below. Today's shout out goes to Lucy. Thanks for being a member of the Slashed Squad, and join me over in this video next where I try a bunch of new $2 makeup from Shop Miss A. I'll see you over there. Bye!